I'm excited to show you an easy technique to make beautiful wreath with basic quilling flowers. I will also share some varieties to take your creativity to the next level. So let's get started. I recommend using 80 to 130 GSM paper strips for this quilling project. And I'm using 6mm wide paper strips. Let's begin with the first quilling wreath. I made the flowers of this wreath with teardrop shapes, which are formed out of tight coils. First, curl the paper strip with a needle tool. Then, roll it tightly with a slotted quilling tool into a coil. When you reach the end of the paper strip, seal it with glue. Locate the end of the paper strip and pinch it to the other side of the coil to form a teardrop shape. This ensures that the end of the paper strip won't be visible when attaching all parts of the flower together. I made a tight coil without a center hole for the center of the flower. This will provide a much better look than a common tight coil. Once again, curl the paper strip and try to roll it gently in your fingers instead of using a slotted quilling tool. Roll it very tightly until the end and seal it with a tiny bit of glue. At this point in the video, you should have 5 teardrop shapes for the petals and 1 tiny tight coil for the center of the flower. Take the petals and apply some glue to the curved side of the teardrop shape where the end of the paper strip is located. Place all the petals with glue and a tight coil in front of you. Then, arrange them easily into the flower, forming a star and paying attention to symmetry. To craft the wreath, you'll need 10 of these flowers. I made 5 of them with blue paper strips and the other 5 with purple strips. The flowers should look like this in the end. After that, apply glue between 2 petals of all flowers and place them in front of you again before arranging them into a wreath. Then, you just need to connect the flowers with each other. Pay attention to this little detail for a better look. Always connect the next flower after the second petal of the previous one. This ensures symmetry in the quilling wreath. The wreath could look like this at the end, without any visible symmetry. But don't worry, after connecting the flowers, there is still some time to arrange the whole wreath into a perfect circular shape. To enhance the overall look and make the wreath more sturdy, I attached some leaves in 2 different shades of green. I made them just like the petals of the flower. Again, apply glue onto the curved side of the teardrop shape and attach them to the wreath between 2 flowers. For a more appealing look, switch between the 2 green shades. And here is the completed quilling wreath. It is almost perfect. If you look closer at the petals, you will see that the surface isn't smooth enough. You can fix this issue by rolling the slotted tool on the quilling and flattening the surface. This will definitely take the results to the next level. Here is the final result of the wreath. I'm pretty happy about it, and I also love the color combination. Here are 2 more pleasing color combinations I would recommend. 2 shades of pink with dark leaves and 2 shades of orange. This was the quilling technique using teardrop shapes. For the next wreath, I just changed the teardrop shapes with tight coils without center holes, and it turned into a completely different design. Compared to the first wreath, it has no center holes at all. With just tiny changes, you can easily get a totally new design of the quilling wreath. That's why I love it so much. I made the next wreath with 2 different flower sizes and curved leaves. Let me show you how. I already prepared all the quilling pieces. If you look closer at the flowers, you will see that the yellow one is slightly bigger, but I used the same length of paper strips for each one. To achieve this effect, I wrapped a paper strip 3 times around the teardrop shape. This gave the flower better contrast on the edges and also made it a little bit bigger. For making the leaves, I just rolled the coil and let it open up on the template board with a circle of 8mm size. Then I formed it into a teardrop shape and used my needle tool to give it a nice curve. After that, I attached the pieces together. This time, I used only 5 leaves instead of 10. The next wreath is a little bit bigger than the previous ones. For this one, I crafted different flowers with 6 petals instead of 5. Let me present you how I made them. I rolled the coil with my slotted quilling tool and let it open up on the template board, using the circle with an 8mm size again. Then I formed it into a teardrop shape and pinched it tightly. Similar to the previous flower, I wrapped another darker shade 3 times around it. Then I attached all the petals together. Pay attention to symmetry in this flower. The petals must be placed in a straight line. After that, I connected all the flowers to craft the wreath. Once again, be careful while attaching the flowers in this step. Always leave 2 petals on each flower before attaching the next one. I made dark leaves with 2 different shades of green for this wreath. Attach all pieces together and you will get this beautiful wreath. Compared to the first wreath in this video, it is a little bit bigger. The next wreath is made of 6 flowers, and as you can see, I made some of them with ring coils. I curled the paper strip first and applied some glue on one end. Then I wrapped it on the first ring of the border body tool. After that, I sealed the end of the strip and pinched the coil tightly. And for adding more contrast, I wrapped another paper strip 3 times around it. This is how the flower with ring coils should look like, and I found it much more pleasing combined with the previous flower design. For making the leaves, I rolled the coil and let it open up on the template board on a circle with a 10mm size. Then I formed it into a triangle shape. After that, I used the needle tool and pressed it on one side of the triangle to form it into a heart shape. After attaching all the pieces, you will get this wreath. It is as big as the first wreath in this video, but smaller than the one where I used the same flowers. Now let me introduce my absolute favorite wreath in this video. You need a lot of precision and patience for this one. I made some tight coils using the needle tool. This time, the center hole of the coil is necessary. After rolling the strip into a tight coil, I just pinched it tightly. I made 8 of these petals and a tiny tight coil for the center of the flower. This is the part where you have to work precisely. I applied some glue onto one petal and attached the center of the flower to it. Only after that, it was able to stand on the table. Then, I attached all the petals to the center of the flower. As you can see, this flower is not even bigger than my fingertip, but still the quilling process remains the same. Attach all the flowers together to craft the wreath and add some tiny leaves to it. Compared to the first wreath, this one seems so tiny. I made an even smaller wreath using 8 flowers. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button. Now that you have mastered quilling wreath with basic flowers, get ready for endless creativity. Craft your unique designs and explore 20 captivating quilling flowers in the next video. Just click right here. Thank you for watching and happy quilling!